Hi guys, what's up? My name is Mallory and this is Mercury Mind, and I just wanted to talk about the same thing that everybody is probably talking about right now, and that is the coronavirus. Undoubtedly, we're living in some weird ass times right now. Probably for any generation that's alive, it's something that no one has really experienced. So, definitely weird, definitely uncertainty. We've got things popping up in our bodies like anxiety, paranoia, fear, and I think that I just want to share positive things that are coming out of this. That this is all happening for a greater purpose and a greater reasoning. And if this didn't happen, then we wouldn't be able to get to a better place of living. That being said, I just want to talk about all of the beautiful things that are happening, though we're focusing so much on the lack and the crumbling of the structures that we've known for so long. Okay, so this isn't a bad thing. It's not a comfortable time right now, and people will die. People will go through financial struggles and burdens. The economy will go through a recession. All of these things are completely valid to be scared about. But again, this is so we can implement a more sustainable structure in the future and something that can benefit not only us, but the entire world as a whole. Why is a pandemic happening right now? Why would something globally be happening right now? It's a response from our Earth. It is a direct mirror reflection of the way that we have treated the plant life, the animals, all of our natural resources on this planet. We are seeing blue skies in China for the first time in a very long time. They get occasional blue skies, but they've had consistent blue skies since they've shut down. And can you imagine living in like a heavily populated area of China where smog is like your normality and you obviously have breathing issues? That's just your normal world, so you almost don't even know better, especially if you're a child born into that. That's almost reality. Imagine being like a 10-year-old child or like a 14-year-old child peeking out your window and seeing a blue sky for the first time. That opens up a world of possibilities, and it also shows that maybe everything that we have built upon is no longer sustainable and no longer serving our truths. I'm sorry, but it's so symbolic to see a blue sky, like the fog has lifted. Literally, like this is a form of clarity. This is for people to finally feel like they can step up into a higher purpose. I'll get back to that later. Our environment, we've been, picking it clean. And the way that we treat animals on this planet is absolutely disgusting. That's for a whole video and another time. But these diseases, they aren't entirely sure where it stemmed from, but almost every disease that's like this stems from presumably this market in China where there's dogs and bats and cats and other animals that are just forced into these tiny cages of confinement. Who are we to do that? I'm sorry, who do we think we are to treat other living creatures on the same planet that way? So, of course, these unhealthy, poor things are contracting these diseases, and by being in so close quarters with them as humans, we've contracted these same diseases because we know that this can be transferred from dogs. And it's like such an example of don't confine nature like that. Don't put them in literal boxes and treat them like crap. Who do we think we are? So we have every right to be terrified when something like this happens because we've separated ourselves so much from nature. People are freaking out, running through stores, stocking up for doomsday, and not leaving anything for anyone else. So there's this panic happening of do I have enough food to sustain myself for however long this is going to last? Because we don't know, but you want to live in a structure that separates yourself so far from nature for what? Power, money, notoriety? Just so when something like this happens, you realize that you don't know how to grow your own food. You don't know how to go out into nature and forage the bountiful, beautiful, edible plants out there that Mother Nature is providing us. That is literally a miracle in itself, and we don't care about that for some reason, or we haven't cared in the past. This is one thing that will die with this structure. This is one thing that we are starting to tap into. There's already been a rise in veganism, and that's not just about like what is healthiest for your body. That is standing up for the disgusting way that we do factory farming. We treat animals as barcodes and abuse them in the most heinous ways, and that will die. That's one thing that will die. Another thing that's coming up for this is an inner sense of knowing versus fear that is being fed to us. So this has affected me. I live in Colorado. They just, as of today, put a ban on restaurants and bars. So I found out this morning that I don't have a job for at least 30 days. If it follows what the city of Denver is doing, it could be up to 8 weeks. And where I thought my life would be a couple weeks ago is hilarious compared to where I'm at right now. It's really important right now to focus on knowing that this was bound to happen. We've been training for this our whole life, and it's far from over. It's like my generation grew up with this innate sense of understanding that the systems in play did not resonate with us as a human being. And though many of people my age are busting their butts trying to work for society so that they can just live a happy life, working way more than 40 hours a week just so they can come home and relax and watch the TV and be fed all this stuff. Like, some of us are fitting into the system, and I'm telling you right now, we see this opportunity right now of what's happening, and we have this deep inner knowing that this was always meant to happen. It was always going to happen. And it is time for us to step up into our truths of who we are and no longer be afraid that that doesn't fit into society, because what is society right now? What is even happening outside in the world right now? It's certainly not. We will not come out of this the same as we did going into it. And everyone knows that. There's so much anxiety and pain and fear going around, and it is so important right now to just focus on your intuition and your feeling, and take care of yourself. Take great care of yourself, because you matter as an individual, and you can only promote yourself as the best version of yourself to the outside world if you take care of what's on the inside. I realized through this also that I don't want to go back to the old way of being. I just lost my job as a server for at least 30 days, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is crazy and unstable, especially financially. We don't know what's going to happen. But I don't want to go back there. I'm not like, oh my goodness, I miss my job so much. Like, how can I get back to customer service where I have to be a robot and my thoughts don't matter? I literally had a manager yell at me about a week ago and say to my face, I don't give a motherfuck about your personal life. That's good to know. That's good to know, because you are just helping me to understand why this doesn't resonate with me as a person, because I never deserve to be talked to that way. I never deserve, when I'm working my butt off, getting paid crap wages, I mean, as a server, all servers do. It's not like that restaurant specifically is doing it. It's all servers. We work for our tips, and it's demeaning. It's demeaning to, you realize that you truly do not matter. What goes on inside of you does not matter. They always say, do not bring your shit to work. My shit is my work. My shit will always be my work, and it is the healing. What is important to me, my lessons, my journey, my pain, my love, that is what I'm supposed to bring out to the world. And this new world that we're going out into right now is going to support that. It might not be for a year or so until all of this clears up. We've got another Saturn-Pluto conjunction happening later this year. It is not over, my friends. This is going to be a wild ride, so buckle up. But it is for a higher purpose. I have to continually say that, because faith is so important right now. What's coming is much better than what is leaving. I know that. And a lot of you know that deep down too. And why? How does this benefit you? How can you start over? How can you not go back to what was before? Because that was actually a lesson of this first couple months in this year before this even happened. It was like, we're gearing up to go into the new astrological new year. Aries season is just a couple days away, first day of spring. What do you want to release? What do you have to let go? What doesn't suit you anymore so you can step into this? This situation that just happened is the perfect opportunity to sit with yourself, to really sit with yourself in quiet. Try your damnedest not to use addictions to, numb yourself, it's awesome to stay informed, especially because the drama is like, I'm kind of living for the drama, but also stay away from it. Make sure that you allow yourself time for nature, time to go within, connect with yourself and your deep knowing. Understand your inner knowing is much more important at this time than your inner fear. And how can you transmute this time right now to say, this is what I'm worth. This is what I'm doing going forward after this. Thank you so much, universe, for granting me this time that never happens in many, many lifetimes for me to just sit with myself and really contemplate everything. This is a really good time to understand that we cannot control. Ultimately, we cannot control what's going to happen to us. Think about where you thought you would be in 3 weeks ago. Are you there right now? What has happened in between that time? Ground shaking things. So not only do we need to release our sense to control things, which goes along with mental health, but our physical health. We have to learn from this. Hygiene is important. My boyfriend says, I was washing my hands before it was cool. And it's so true. Like, we should always have been taking precautions like this for flus and things like this now. Like, not just all of a sudden should people be washing their hands like before and after they leave buildings. Like, that should be normal practice if possible for people. We are also learning at this time that, and we will ultimately learn through this, that complacency is not necessarily good. Doing the same 9-to-5 job every day and just to come home and rest on the weekends is not necessarily good. It's a very important time for us to take back our power. This is opening up a portal for us to step into our true power right now. Step into the things that we were meant to do. And you do have a place on this earth with your gift that you're meant to fit in. This is going to open up a portal for a healing type of world. New careers are going to start surfacing. A lot of people are going to be working for themselves as individual healers. I think it's a super important time of healing right now. And you'll see more things like breath work. You'll see more things like psychedelic therapy. You'll see stuff like more yoga, more meditation. It'll be more prominent. We're going to be implementing this, and I know that in my heart of hearts. But we definitely need to take our power back when it comes to this, because for too long we've just rolled over on our backs and taken it. We have just been like, well, this is how life is, so la-di-da. No, this is a time for us to join together, all generations join together. I remember listening to a podcast forever ago about, the divide between generations, and boomers hate millennials, millennials hate boomers, blah, blah, blah. Older generations have wisdom that we do not have. They have real world life experience that we don't have, okay? But we also have a vision, and we also have a perspective of how they live life and where we can fine tune it that they do not have. This is a time that we need to band together. They need to understand that our generation sees things, and we can cleanse and see things better. There are people that are just want to make the world a better place. We're not out here to just live off of the backs of others. But we're also not going to give our power up. We are angry and we're frustrated with the institutions and the structures, because I'm not a number. I believe more for myself. I know that I'm important and I matter. And so I want to build a world where I can be of service and do what I was meant to do. That is what a career should be. I don't want to work in customer service forever. And I just feel like I'm not going back. I'm not going back. I know what I've learned and my voice matters, and I will go forward that way. Another positive thing is this is bringing communities together. It's really cute. Yes, the government is stepping in, and yes, the government is helping us as much as they can, but every little thing matters, you know? Before I, updated myself on what steps the government is taking, I thought to myself, wow, I don't have a job, so I can't pay rent, and obviously no one is hiring. And I talked to my old roommate, and he just offered me a place to live if it gets that bad, which I don't see it happening, but that people in my apartment complex are more inclined to talk to each other right now because we all feel very human. We all feel very vulnerable. There is no hierarchy of who's who. We all, it's like there's celebrities, rich people, all of these things that, we might put on a pedestal, but their grave is the same size as us. And we all feel very vulnerable right now. And this is a really good time to cut that ego or that insecurity, whichever one you are battling, because we all battle with both, but it's a good time to cut that shit out and be authentic. Because what is happening right now? You know what I mean? Like, who you were 3 weeks ago, none of that shit matters. Like, whatever ego trip you were in 3 weeks ago does not matter now. What matters is community and understanding how we can adapt into communities to help each other. You know what I mean? And not be so separated into our own homes and little boxes with our own little families and our own... I'm not hating on monogamous relationships, I promise, but like things like that, just that concept in general is like we're hiding away so much because we're afraid. But we see that everyone's afraid in situations like this, and we band together. We band together, and it's so beautiful. I see way more communities coming out of this in the next year. Way more communal living, for sustainability reasons. Communities with gardens that work off the land and can make a living that way. That will be more prominent, in my opinion. Finally, this is just a spring cleaning in general. Dig deep. We're going into the new earth. It's here. It is finally here. All of that stagnant energy we were feeling of 2019, this is why we were stagnant. That was a pullback. All of a sudden, here we are. Bang. It's going to be a crazy year. It's not over. We've got Pluto, Mars, Jupiter conjunction happening here, like right around the equinox. And then we've got that Saturn-Pluto conjunction again later in the year. And I'm telling you, it is not over. But take this time to do a spring cleaning. Again, physically and mentally. Physically, clean up your house, clean up your room, get rid of stuff you no longer need. This is a material cleansing for sure. We've been holding on to so many things for so long. It's really time to step into the new version of yourself. And mentally, let go. I'm struggling with this a lot, and I can only ever say things from a perspective of dealing with them from an internal, painful perspective. Let go of these people. Let go of these ties of people that do not serve your future version or do not nourish the part of you that means the most. We've got to let them go, and take your time. We have time. Take your time. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. And we're going to get through this. It's a wild year, and I just am so curious to see where we go from here. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Mallory, and I'll see you in my next video.